In this video, dolphins. Big black and white dolphins. And sea dogs as we head to Bremer Bay for an orca watching tour. We are in Bremer Bay tonight in Western Australia. Ever since I was a young kid, I've had a bit of an obsession with orcas, or killer whales, and when I left my work they gave me a gift, a Get Your Guide gift card for experiences, and I found a boat tour that could do orca watching down here. So I think my obsession with orcas is proved somewhat by a couple of things, one of which is close friends of ours, Cindy and Sylvia, bought me a print years ago, and when we sold our house we got rid of all our artwork, or most of our artwork, apart from a few bits that we wanted to put in the motorhome. And that was one of them, a print of an orca. Love it though, absolutely love that piece of artwork. We're hopefully going to go see some orcas tomorrow. I have to say that Anna has been a bit annoyed at my obsession with orcas in the past, I would say.
Don't get annoyed with Rory's obsession with orcas. I get frustrated by the fact that we spent 4 days in probably what was the coldest part of Iceland I think I've ever been in. It was like minus 15?
Yeah.
It was pretty cold. And in a camper van with a blow heater, so not even like proper heating, and we didn't see a single orca. I get frustrated with the lack of orcas, but then I'm also pretty lucky because I went on a boat trip for work in the UK to Isla and I saw orcas. So I've been very lucky in my experience, apart from when I've been with Rory. So this is the test of tomorrow. If we can see orcas together, because we've seen them separately, but we've never seen them together.
After going to Iceland, I went back 2 years after with my brother, and I took him to the same place, and we sat for 2 days trying to look for orcas, and we paid a good few £100 to go on a boat tour in Iceland, as Anna and I had done a couple of years earlier. But as we came off the boat, didn't see a single thing on the boat, but as we came off the boat and drove over a hill on this Snæfellsnes Peninsula, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, we came over this hill into this sort of natural harbour, and there were about 40 orca, and I screamed at Joe to pull over, and he told me to stop wetting my pants like a wee boy. I didn't actually wet my pants, I was just elated, absolutely elated to see orcas. So yeah, really looking forward to tomorrow morning. I always say I don't get excited. This is probably about as close to excited as I get. My voice probably gives it away how excited I am. But yeah, quite looking forward to tomorrow morning and seeing if we can see any orcas. We boarded next morning at 8 AM with a super friendly crew. The weather wasn't looking so friendly though. Morning.
How are you, mate? Welcome aboard.
Thanks. The information the company sends you says the sea can get pretty choppy and advise taking seasickness medication. It wasn't long before it got quite rough. What does Anna do when it gets rough? Yep. Whilst people are spewing all around us, Anna has a nap. The trip was booked with a company called Naturaliste Charters and their vessel, the Alison Maree, which is purposely built for the Southern Ocean. After an hour of keeping us fed and watered and looking after the sick on the choppy journey, the crew were out on all the decks trying to spot the orca for us.
6 o'clock?
Yeah,
And within no time at all, there were orca all around the vessel. The crew pointed them out using the analogy of a clock face. So why here? The vessel had taken us around 70 kilometres offshore above the Bremer Canyon. The Bremer Canyon is a series of deep submarine canyons. The canyon, or series of canyons, are up to 5,000 metres deep, twice the depth of the Grand Canyon in the USA. This unique topography causes upwelling of nutrient-rich waters, which brings a multitude of marine life. This marine life acts as prey for the apex predator, the orca. Oh wow, soon became the soundtrack to the day.
Oh wow.
Oh wow!
Oh, that's been there. Right there.
Oh wow!
And here comes another two. Oh yeah, boy. Yeah, nibbles.
Yeah.
He's not long back.
What a start!
The voices you could hear there were the voices of the crew, massively excited despite doing this day in, day out. Really did add to the excitement of the day and made me slightly jealous of their jobs. Okay, I lied. Massively jealous. This area of the sea is part of the Bremer Marine Park, a 4,472 square kilometre area of the sea. Between January to April each year, this plays host to the largest congregation of orca in the southern hemisphere. They come due to the availability of food. The area has a massive supply of plankton feeding krill, which in turn feeds other fish species. The orca we were observing were feeding on tuna. Orca that come here each year are known to feed on various different food sources, including tuna, other species of fish, giant squid, and of course, whales. It was incredible to be close enough to the orca that you could hear them breathe as they came up. Why did I say, of course, whales? Well, when orca were first observed, they were observed killing whales and were known as whale killers. The name flipped over time and became killer whales. Their Latin name, Orcinus orca, also reflects the observation of them feeding on large whales. They are, in fact, the largest species in the dolphin family. At least that's what watching QI for years tells me. Another great thing about this particular trip and the company is that they have marine biologists on board. The marine biologists, and in fact, all of the crew, were happy to share their knowledge about the orca that you were observing, interacting with small groups of passengers to give it that personal touch. A bit like this.
For the first 5 years of their life, totally dependent on her. During that first year, they'll just feed on milk, so she doesn't even really have proper teeth right now. She's got a specialised tongue that can curve into a kind of funnel, so she can drink milk from a comma. These guys have mammary slits, so she kind of pop that tongue in the mammary slit and then drink that milk. And then after a few years, they'll start to feed on a combination of both milk and meat as well. They often won't really be super involved in the predations. They'll just hang back, oftentimes with the males, and then their mum will bring them meat from those events. We call that prey sharing. So these guys will make sure that everyone in their pod gets their fair share. They'll tear up whatever they've eaten and pass it around to everybody. And then they'll start to learn to hunt themselves as well when they're like 4 to 5 years old. We often see training hunts happen, especially with bigger animals, where they'll just kind of injure the animal to slow it down and then bring the calves into practice hunting. And we also see them practice hunting in their play as well. So they'll often roll around and bump into each other and practice their hunting strategies. They're super social animals, really tactile as well. Their skin is much more sensitive than ours is, so part of that socialisation is rubbing up against one another and rolling over the top of each other.
We had this interaction after seeing an orca calf called Wren, who they clearly cared about.
Oh, amazing!
though they were just as endearing about this bull called Nibbles. Little Wren was indeed pretty small. Something I haven't mentioned is the catering on board. On the way out to the grounds, they came round with rosemary and sea salt focaccia. Whilst watching the Orca, they bring round snacks, including wraps and sandwiches. We could also help ourselves to soft drinks and water throughout the day at any point. All of the food and drinks were great, but man, I could eat so much more of that focaccia. Absolute top notch. On the way back to shore, the highlight had to be the chocolate brownies. I mentioned to Anna how incredible I found it to be able to see and hear them breathing, which is also referred to as spouting or blowing, but Anna came up with her own term for it.
Sploof, sploof. Spoof. 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 Spoof.
Oh my god!
You're right.
Spoof. Spoof.
Hey, Nibble. Oh no, that's a camera. So good.
No idea what any of this, but the vessel certainly looked pretty techy. Orca are the second most widely distributed mammal on the planet, only after humans. They're found in every sea. Orca tend to specialise in what they eat, be it whales, tuna and squid, like here. There are pods in Norway that specialise in herring, pods in New Zealand that specialise in stingrays, and in South Africa there's even orca that specialise in hunting great white sharks. As you can see, there was still a fair bit of chop. Still didn't quite have our sea legs on. And the boat revved up and we headed to another location to see if we could find another pod. Unfortunately, the sunny skies hadn't followed us and we were met with a somewhat apocalyptic looking sky. We did find the pod of orca though. This pod didn't show much interest in coming close to the boat, which was fine, as we were completely spoiled by the other pod. The company will never chase an orca, and rightly so that some tourist can see them. And yes, I'm aware we're complete and utter tourists, although it did feel like the rain clouds were chasing us. This would be our last viewing of Orca before the vessel powered back up as we headed for shore. Seemed like it was trying to escape the rain. No such luck. The sun reappeared as we were reaching land, and it turned out the wildlife wasn't quite done for the day. The crew announced that they'd spotted a pod of bottlenose dolphins. They throttled back the engines and the dolphins came in and rode the bow. Another example of the Bremer Marine Park and its incredible wildlife. These dolphins were happy to ride the bow for around 15 minutes with people swapping out on the bow to take photos.
And as if we weren't lucky enough that day with our wildlife encounters, the crew navigated to a place where we saw Australian sea lions. We've previously swam with these guys before, and we'll leave a link to that video at the end. Once the sea lion decided it would take a dip, it was another 10 minutes and we were back at harbour.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Time for one last look at the vessel that took us on what we would both say was the best wildlife experience we've ever done.
So, we've just got off the Alison Maree boat in Bremer Bay. How was today?
Pretty epic.
Yeah, pretty epic. We were about an hour and a half out to where the orcas were, and there were tons of them. So yeah, pretty incredible. Thanks to my colleagues for paying for the majority of it. Yeah, what else did we see?
Sea lions, dolphins.
Dolphins bow riding. That was super cool. That was really cool. But
Couple
yeah,
of albatross as well.
wandering albatross. They were so cool. I just keep saying so cool, but yeah, just an awesome day. Awesome day. A few people were seasick on the way out. It is a rough crossing, but take the pills in the morning and take some with you just in case if you ever do this boat trip. It's definitely worth it to avoid the risk.
And that was that. Join us in the next one as we head to Esperance. Have you ever seen sea so blue?